All right. Hello, everybody. To those that don't know me, my name is Tim Styling, and I'm the manager of product marketing here at ConnectALL. And today, what we're going to be discussing in this very first tech micro webinar of this year's biweekly tech series is a little bit about visualizing your value stream and how to do so using ConnectALL's upcoming value stream designer. So to kind of illustrate what we're going to be talking about here today, I'm actually going to be going on vacation next week. My wife and I are traveling from where we live here in Florida up to Kentucky. And I know where I want to go, which is Mammoth Cave National Park. I know where I am, which is my house. And so in order to know the best way to get from point A to point B, and in fact, even knowing how long it will take, what sorts of obstacles I may encounter along the way. Am I going to experience traffic near certain big cities, or, am I going to have to try to find a route around? To kind of understand a little bit more about that, I need to map and figure out what my route is going to be. And funny enough, it's the same exact thing in software delivery. And that's why we here at ConnectALL, when it comes to value stream management, we mention the importance of seeing your value stream, measuring your value stream, and automating your value stream. So what we will talk about today is that first aspect, seeing your value stream. We'll talk about what that means, why it's important, and how to utilize the ConnectALL Value Stream Designer in order to do so. So let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. All right. So this is an example of what a potential value stream could look like built in ConnectALL's Value Stream Designer. So what is this? What are we looking at? Well, within ConnectALL's Value Stream Designer, this is a built-out map of a potential software delivery value stream. You see at the beginning here, we have an incident being submitted. And in the case of this incident requiring escalation, rather than something that can immediately be handled, like a password change request or something, you'll see that this particular request goes through a number of different steps, goes into development, testing, and ultimately deployment. And so this gives us an idea of what exactly happens in between a customer reaching out to us, either by email or phone. And then from there, what needs to happen in order for the successful deployment of the particular code that solves the customer's problem. Now, why does this matter, and what was the point of mapping all this out? Well, there's kind of two things that can really be utilized here. First of all, Mr. Customer here at the end has a problem. Otherwise, they wouldn't have reached out to us. And what this customer is probably going to face if we haven't done an activity like this is a lot of frustration, not knowing when their problem is going to be solved. So, at the end of the day, if this customer reaches out to us now and says, hey, what's going on with my particular issue? Well, we look in the record and we see that it's in this testing stage. We can tell them, okay, great, it's currently being tested. And now, it's just a few more steps until it can be deployed. Whereas before, we didn't have that visibility. We can also start to measure what's going on in each of these steps. We can't really manage anything if we haven't visualized it. And so in order to do so, we can take a look at each of these individual steps. And now we can start to measure with pinpoint accuracy how long each of these steps are taking. And we can know, okay, these are all the steps that have to occur in testing. How long does this take? We know these are the steps that have to occur in development. These are the different people that have to touch it. How long does each of those steps take? And then finally, we can get into automation. So now that we've visualized this value stream using the ConnectALL Value Stream Designer, we can start to understand, okay, what are some opportunities for improvement here? Just one of the many examples that you could probably get from looking at this value stream is we see that after a successful deployment, lots of different people like the Scrum Master and the Operations Manager are alerted based on an IM, letting them know, hey, the deployment was successful. What if we did the same thing over here in development? Because right now, the Scrum Master has to go into Jira and check to see if there's any completed code in order to bring it here to then schedule for deployment. The if the Scrum Master decides not to check on a particular day, or she's pulled into a lot of different meetings, then what that means is it might sit there for a while. So what if we use Slack for the same thing? What if we decided that we wanted to bring Slack into the development process? We wanted to move this step, the completed code check, up here to instead come from Slack. And then we draw a new step going from Jira to Slack, alerting them saying, completed test IM. And so from there, we can change it to the appropriate color, which would be this blue. And what you can see is now, we can shift some of these things around as needed, but let's just go ahead and do that to make it a little easier to read. So what we can do now is, instead of the Scrum Master having to go into Jira, we can say, okay, let's just reroute that from Slack. So then she knows immediately when there's a completed set of code to then be ready for deployment. So just as a quick review of what we talked about here is, we discussed what a value stream map really is. It's simply mapping from point A to point B and figuring out what all has to happen in between. Whether that's me and my wife driving up to Kentucky, or whether that's trying to figure out what happens from the time a customer submits a request all the way through deployment. We also talked a little bit about why it's so important, how we can utilize this as the first step in managing our value stream. So now we can measure each of the individual steps and start to automate different types of things. And finally, we talked a little bit about how it works. I mean, you saw how very simple it was to search for a tool. You can find any of these icons, change the colors, add different shapes, things like that, just to make sure that you're able to build a value stream like this based upon your own software delivery lifecycle. So now I'll open things up to any questions. I'll spend the next couple minutes here answering any questions you may have. And while you're thinking about your questions and submitting any questions that you might have, I also want to invite you to connectall.com/value-stream. This URL right here will enable you to stay in the loop for any alerts for when this free tool, this free value stream designer, is going to be available for you to use yourself. And we'll also be able to keep you up to speed on all of the other things that ConnectALL is doing, all of the other webinars we're doing, and just some of the events we're part of, and different things like that. So if you're interested in staying in the loop, you can navigate to this website. And now I'll go ahead and open things up to any questions that you may have. All right, I'm not seeing any questions at the moment, but we'll give another couple minutes here. Let's see, it looks like a question came in. All right. Well, I don't see any questions, but I just want to let you guys know that I was reminded that this is going to be ready to go next week. So keep an eye out for that. Again, if you want to be the first to know, if you want to be alerted to when this comes out and when you're able to access it, you can fill out this form here on connectall.com/value-stream. And if you want to stay in the loop, feel free to do so. And if not, then I think we'll be good to go. All right, so I see there's another question in here. It says, how long does it take? So that kind of depends. The actual drag and drop functionality of this of using this designer is very simple. I mean, you saw how quickly, just here as an example, I was able to add a step. So actually utilizing the designer is very simple and does not take very long at all. What we recommend, however, just to make sure that you're touching on each of the individual steps, is to do a value stream mapping session. Now, this could be done internally with your team. You're welcome to bring everyone into a room and, instead of using the traditional whiteboard, drawing it on there, you can utilize the value stream designer in the same way. One other thing we actually offer from ConnectALL as well is a free value stream assessment, which is where you'll be able to walk through the process of setting this up with one of our value stream architects. They'll ask you all of the questions that will help draw out each of these individual steps. They'll make sure to dig into you in each of these levels and then be able to make targeted recommendations based upon what they see. And so that process will probably take, between an hour and a half and 2 hours. Really, it just kind of depends on the complexity of your value stream, but it's a really valuable session to be able to have a third party be able to ask you some of those questions. I know when you're in it, when you've been used to the same process for so long and you haven't mapped it out and you are just kind of going with the flow, it can feel like at the end of the day, it's just so ingrained in what you do that you're just used to it and you don't think there's another way. Having that third party ask you those questions is helpful. And I've already rambled way too long on that question, so I will shut my mouth now. Got another question here. Can I share the diagram? Yes, you actually are able to share the diagram. So if you come up here to where you see diagram actions, click on here, and you'll see down here, you are able to share this diagram with anybody, really. Again, this is a free tool that will be available next week. So if you click share, what that will enable you to do is forward it to somebody in your organization. They'll need to create an account for the value stream designer. And once they do, they'll be able to see it. And yeah, so that's a great way to be able to share it with all types of people in your organization. And so, you can also take a screenshot of this image. You can download it as a PDF like you see here. And yeah, so there's a lot of different ways that you can share the diagram, whether you want someone to be able to play with it or you want it as a static image. You got good options. All right. Give another second or two here for any questions. Okay, I see another question here. How many tools or logs are there? Okay, that's a great question. Well, I can show you. I don't have an exact number, but as you can see from this selection queue, there are a boatload. So it's not one of those things where it's not a very official number, but there are a lot of tools, and you'll see that they're in individual categories. And just as a reminder, I mean, there's a lot to have to search through here. So I can go ahead and, if you wanted to find Slack, you can utilize the icon up here. And then we can come in here and you can see, okay, there's a boatload of different icons that you can use to go along with the tools. So you can make your value stream look exactly how you need it to. You've got over 500 different options of tools. You've got lots of different icons. And at the end of the day, you've got everything you need. I mean, this really does a great job providing you with all that you need in order to build out the value stream based upon your company's unique setup. I see another question here. Can I add my own icons? Yes, you can. So if you come over here again to the dropdown, you'll see, okay, you can actually upload your own icons. So if there's within those, hundreds of tools, if there's something that's not available, something that, you use that's kind of very different than a lot of folks, if it's something that we haven't included, if it's a tool that came out yesterday and you guys are piloting it, nobody else even knows it exists, you can actually upload your own icon. You can put in the logo of that particular tool. It's also helpful if you have something homegrown. You can put your own logo in there and then be able to showcase that, hey, this is our own homegrown CRM. We've got that connected in here as well. So yes, you can add your own icons. It's very simple to upload those, and you'll see how you can do it all directly from here. Alrighty. Any final questions? Alrighty, well, I think that's it. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us here at ConnectALL. You can reach out to me directly if you would like at T as in Thomas, M as in Martin, and my last name, Styling, Stiling. You're also welcome to go to our website and contact us directly from there. And again, we look forward to having you continue to join us for this micro webinar series. I hope that the short and sweet style was beneficial for you, and we didn't take too much time out of your day, and that this was useful. Again, feel free to reach out to us if you need anything. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you in the designer once it's out next week. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.